Welcome to the Node.js N-API Team meeting for the 18th of September 2020. We'll follow our standard practice of looking at what we've got tagged for milestone 11. Before we do that, does anybody have any announcements they'd like to share? I guess one that would be good mentioning is, Nicola is working on a release now, so we expect a new release of Node add-on API, and I guess the next day or so, right?
Yeah. We are near to release the version 3.0.2 for Node add-on API, and finally we can solve the problem that we introduced for on Windows. We brackets. We create some breakage on Windows, and now we finally solved this, and we added the new API, the add-on class that help to handle the loading of the native add-on, specifically multiple loads in the same thread, and the load of the native add-on in multiple threads. And we added some tests and fix on all the API and documentation. So this is what happened with the next release.
Sounds great. Thanks for leading that effort, and as well as creating the tests for the new piece of functionality. So that was definitely important. Okay, let's move on to the issues tag. The first one is discussion on API 7. I think we'd covered that, but I've seen some recent stuff. So I think, Gabriel, do you want to bring that one?
Yeah, yes, I wanted to bring up, let's see what we have here. Some stuff has happened since I went to bed. Okay, so we could add okay. All right, I see. So you said you're okay either way. Yeah. So we had a PR come in that that basically asks to be added to an API 7, but since it's a new API, well, it's not really a new API. It's just a couple of extra values for hey, where did that PR go? Oh yes, it landed. Yeah. So adding a couple of more property values. So basically, we could release an API 7 without it, or we could wait until we manage to backport them, because it's a really tiny change. So it should be easy to backport, and then release an API 7 with the properties intact. So it's not really new API. I mean, unless we consider a value to be an API, but it's not really like new functions or anything.
That once it's in, you can't go back, right?
True. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I think it's new API effectively, and it will only be available in a certain level.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is somewhere minor. Right, but basically, so shall we proceed with an API 7 as is the question, or shall we wait for this small PR to trickle back and then tag an API 7?
Right. In my mind, it's really risk. Do we want some baking time for that before we put it back? So is there a risk? And then two, what is the impact of delaying 7?
Yeah.
It could go either way, right? For me, it's kind of it doesn't sound like it's urgent. And, maybe it goes out in an API 8 as part of, 16 or something.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, okay. I'm okay with just proceeding as we had planned, which is to just land a PR marking the stuff as stable, and letting the rest bake.
Right. And then if we think that something really needs to go out, we can always cut an 8 sooner than later, right?
That's true. Yes.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
That was it. So okay. So then I will proceed with landing that PR, the one that establishes 7, and then start
Yeah.
trickling that back.
And I guess I'll add, it also sounded like the original author was happy to wait too on that one. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next one is review external examples. I don't think we've made any progress on that one.
No, unfortunately.
The next one is the tracking issue for modules we've noticed reported.
Okay, so I know I just saw an issue on okay on SQLite
Okay.
because they used um, um, a variable that we defined only on node 12 and 14 and we never backported to node 10.
But I guess
So
it must be in an earlier NAPI version then, right?
uh, it's on process.version because we export the version of an API and we export even if the on if I will remember common GPI the NAPI version. So
Okay, so it's not part of NAPI itself, but something that we'd exposed for
yeah,
it to, right, okay.
Uh, I won't I won't find the link. Um, uh, Give me just
Sure.
a moment. Uh, yeah. Okay. So I'm posting on the chat the
Yep.
because the issue um, was opened on Node.js. And essentially, yes, it's true that we did didn't backported this on Node 10, and on SQLite they use this variable NAPI build version yeah to on their binding JIP, so they will obtain this error on node 10 because yeah in node 10 um, they don't have this variable.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess the question is, was there a reason we didn't backport it or we just didn't?
Yeah. The question is that we never backported, but yeah, I don't know why, and if I don't think that we can backport now because it's too late.
Um, I
Yeah.
guess the
The author of the issue closed because he switched to a new version of Node and now it compiles and it's okay. But
right.
to avoid this kind of problem, maybe we need to I don't know if we need to do something on documentation or um, I no idea. I just saw this issue,
Right.
and
SQLite, what versions of Node do they? I thought like there was at least one where I'm just wondering what versions they support with an API. Was this the? My question is would it actually solve the problem if we backported it to 10? Or is it being missing like in earlier versions of 10 going to cause just as much of a problem? It sounds like in this case, if the person could upgrade to a later Node version, it wasn't a big deal either. Right?
yeah, because sometimes you cannot update your Node.js version, especially in production. So this is the problem. My problem for.
I guess the question would be, the first question is, does the change land cleanly?
Well, that I can check very quickly.
Because if it lands cleanly, like it seems very low risk, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I think as a bug, it may not be impossible to get it into 10.
Yeah, if you go on the README, they declare that the SQLite tree works starting from Node.js version 11.
Okay.
So
So in that case, like it's really for supported versions, it's 12 and above.
yeah.
So, you know, maybe based on that, we should just leave it as is unless other people report having issues.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I agree.
Okay. So I'm gonna go back there. That's also where we usually just take a quick look at.
It doesn't apply cleanly.
It does not. Okay. Which may be one
Okay,
of the
good.
reasons.
Okay.
Okay, and we've made it over 2 million downloads a week for Node API, which is cool. I'm wondering if we should, it might be time to write like a blog post that we could all collaborate on in terms of the experience over the last, over the last few years. Would that make sense?
Yeah, and what do you want to talk? Yeah, to on these blog posts. So
I think it would be interesting to have like a, a quote from each of the team members. So basically, something saying, hey, this is what I've worked on. This is what I think is interesting about what's happened, or something like that. We could each of us have come up with something like that. short, mention weekly downloads. Summary of current status. I don't think it needs to be too long, but something like that, like a couple paragraphs in terms of weekly downloads, summary of current status, and then maybe a quote from each of the team members would be good. So I will add that in. If anybody wants to, take a look at, writing up some of the summary, we can collaborate in that issue.
Okay, and how okay, how do you want to write these blog posts? So using a Google Doc or maybe we can put some ideas on the issue, and then we make together all the things.
I think the Google Doc's actually a good suggestion so that it's easier for more people to edit.
Yeah, for me, it's a good option.
Yeah. Do you want to add in a Google Doc link to?
Okay.
We can use?
After I will share on the issue.
Okay. Sounds good. Any other questions on that one?
For now, no.
No. Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's good. NodeConf workshop proposal. I haven't heard anything. I guess we don't have Jim, so I suspect he would have told us if he'd heard something as well. I haven't had any chance to look at enabling debug testing for add-ons, so nothing new on that one. Let's take a look at the list of issues. So actually here, we just want to go to no. So look at any new issues. Guess we have a couple questions. How to return objects. So we just need to find some time to answer a couple questions. So there's a couple questions there.
Yeah, and I think that this is done because
Right.
we are the
Okay.
property.
Do you want to close that one out?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. If you think it's done, you might as well go ahead and say, hey, I think we've landed what was asked for there. We're talking about you already gave us an update on the next release of Node add-on API. I don't know if you want to add anything more.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that Kevin was working on this, but I'm not really sure.
Okay. Well, we'll wait till we hear from Kevin on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just looking to see if there's anything. I guess these are all, nothing else looks too new. I know there was some. Right, so. Okay, so I think not anything too new. Let's look at pull requests, if there's anything. Nothing new there. Let's take a look and
Yeah, there is a comment on a pull request.
Yeah, which one?
Yeah, fix a leak of trace save data.
Right.
Yeah, your last comment was about to take a look.
Yeah.
Gabriel. If you have some time, Gabriel, please.
Yeah, I just know the last meeting you'd said even from what you'd seen already, it was like what? So, but maybe it
Yeah.
just takes a closer look, because Legendarcast, you took a look at it, right?
Yeah, I have took a look on it. So I think it it's a valid case.
It's a valid, so it's just the
There is
this,
only one place to new the data. That's just under a few lines of the change line on the async progress workspace and non-broken code. The few line after the change. So there is only one place to new the data, and there's only one place to use the data.
Yeah, I think I may have actually noticed this as well, that we weren't deleting that. So I think this is pretty much good to go.
okay, so you think we
And
should,
yeah, it's kind of hard to test this though, you know, like these leaks. Because I'm thinking it would be nice if we had a test for this, but there's really no way to do it because it's an internal structure, and we have nothing informs us that it was deleted, you know, so that we can fail if it wasn't.
I think doing something like running under Valgrind might give us that.
I know, but what I'm saying is, like, for our CI, we couldn't write a test that would run on CI, right?
Well, couldn't we run all of our
testing for sure?
Couldn't we run all of our tests under Valgrind?
Yes, but I suspect that we would have to maintain things that like the false positives, right? Because
Sure.
Node.js itself has a lot of like false positives, so we'd have to like maintain like an exceptions list.
Yep.
You know, or Valgrind.
Yeah,
So
it would have
I'm
to
not
be
sure
like
if
we
we're ready for
expect
that
this
kind of.
case. Yeah, I think we could. I'm just saying, I think we could. You're right that there would be extra work to do that. I'm trying to think, like, that there may actually be a test in core that does that already.
That checks for a mem leak. Okay, well then we can try to use that methodology.
Maybe it's worth looking at it anyway, because for some reason, I mean, maybe I'm inventing this, but for some reason I thought that there was one where if you that would catch stuff like that.
Let me quickly grep for the word leak in test directory.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, we do have like a UV handle leak. We've got that, but I don't know about a memory leak.
Okay. Well, if I remember what I was thinking, anyway, just that's an aside, really.
We even have one in add-ons, which is nice. So in the non-N-API add-ons, we have something called UV handle leak that might be interesting.
Right.
I see Kevin in the attendees. Can anyone promote him?
Oh, yep, sure. More participants. Okay, so basically, you know, you taking a look at it, everybody thinks it looks good, we can move forward with that one. I don't know, Gabriel, if you just want to approve it, and then.
Yep.
Okay.
I just hit the button.
Perfect. Okay. And go ahead.
Please don't land before the
Yes.
release.
Okay. Yeah, good. I was good. Okay, right. So let's not land anything until, right. Maybe if you send us an email that's like an all clear before we should land anything.
Yeah, I just saw that the CI passed now, and yeah, after the meeting I will publish.
Okay.
So give me some minutes.
Sure. Yeah, no, definitely. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. So sorry, let's. Sorry, any other PRs that we should talk about on this one? Otherwise, I'm going to go look at the node side.
Yeah.
See if we've got issues. Okay, this is a. Okay, so I'll have to read through this one to figure out.
It seems like this issue is the inconsistency between the actual behavior and the docs describe the behavior.
Okay, so you're thinking we could make a doc change versus changing the code. And I think API, like API stability wise, that's probably the wisest as well. I'd have to read through a
Could
little
I
bit more.
even consider this and add a bug so that the behavior should be changed but rather than the docs?
Yeah, I'll need a bit more time to go through it and think, look at the rest of the code and everything.
Okay, this makes sense. So yeah, I mean we're doing something differently from the way Pure.js does it. So yeah, I mean I think this would be a bug.
I guess what's the impact of changing it? You know, for existing code, is it going to mess
Well,
up any existing code or is it going to fix existing code? I guess is the question.
Let me see. So, well, I mean, as it is, okay, as it is, it should. So I'm not sure what like. Okay, so in the example where it says the simplest way to reproduce this, it says execution async ID is 0 here. I'm assuming it shouldn't be 0, right? But what is it when it's not 0? So because right now, since it is 0, right? Then those who might wish to use it have written their code in such a way that they don't use it because they are unable to use it. So they're like, oh, I can't use that here. Okay, so then I'll just do something else, right? So presumably, right? So then if it becomes all of a sudden usable, then none of the code that would have used it but couldn't should break,
Right.
because they use it so they didn't.
Right.
Right? So presumably fixing this would not break anybody, but would allow people to rely on it as they did with Pure.js without even knowing that this was ever a bug.
Right. So what's the, maybe we should just allow null.
Yeah, so I guess the fix seems pretty straightforward, because yeah, you're just supposed to, I guess if you pass in an empty context, that means you wish to inherit the context. that to core means you wish to inherit the context.
But that's the existing code he's pointing to, as opposed to the, or is that his changed code?
Oh wait, yeah, that's a good point.
Right, like I wasn't quite clear whether that's a, because otherwise,
Right. No, you're right. This is not the fix. This
right?
is
So this is what we do today.
right. Okay, never mind. So then, yeah. So then we would have to retrieve the current async ID, I guess.
Right, so you can pass in an async context. And if you do,
Yeah, but if you pass
it's
in
used.
null, yeah, but if you pass in null, then we should retrieve. So basically, what we should do inside the native function is what's happening. What's happening in JavaScript. So if you look at what steps will reproduce the bug,
Right.
basically it's like, so you retrieve, you basically call execution async ID from the async hooks model, and you expect that back. So basically, we should also be calling execution async ID from the async hooks, not model, add-on or module. And so
That actually makes sense to me. Like, well, I guess it's like, when would it ever make sense that you just want a new empty one?
exactly.
Except,
yeah, so
I guess, is there a case where there isn't one?
Well, for make callback, you should have one, right? And there is always one, right?
Okay.
Because we always have you can always just call execution async ID from anywhere at any point, right? So we always have a context or
Okay.
one of these things.
Okay. I guess from my current understanding, I guess I'd lean towards it is a bug. And
Yeah.
we, like right now you get an invalid context versus getting the right context.
That's right. Yeah, and the behavior is unexpected, and it
Right.
it diverges from what pure JS does.
Right. And so I don't think it's really an ABI. Yeah, it wouldn't be breaking the ABI necessarily. And it would also, it only improves things, as well as like async hooks is experimental. So I think for a number of reasons, like I can't think of a downside of saying, let's fix this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, nor I.
Okay. That sound good? PR would be welcome.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. Okay, I can see there's already discussion going back and forth. I don't really think we want an add-on to even, like, as soon as you do this,
Yeah, it just
that's
seems
not
pretty
what we want in
platform
V8,
specific.
right? That's not what we want in an API, so we can let that conversation continue there. And then everything else looks to be relatively older. Let's just look in terms of PRs. Okay, so anyway, that's the one I think that we discussed last time. Nope, this is a different one. Okay. Okay, so I guess Nicola, you took a look at that, sounded okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Create version 7, we already talked about. Clarify NAPI experimental. I guess there's a few more suggestions. Okay, well, I'll take a look at that afterwards. And so anyway, that one's progressing. I don't think we need to talk about it. And this one is quite a while back. So I guess there's a number of questions on this one. So Legendarcast, do you know where this one is, or what we need to do to kind of
many times to do work on this?
Okay. Okay, so basically you're not waiting on anybody for it. You just need to get back to it.
Yeah, I need more time to work on this.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, well, I think that's it. Let's go back to here. We've looked at the burn down the issues. And yes, there's this one too. So this is potentially, it sounds like in Canary, one of the tests is failing. So we're getting this test object crashing. Last thing I tried to clear the workspace. Let's see if that actually had any made any difference. Because the problem is it didn't recreate locally, which was annoying. Like basically both myself and Targos compiled it on different machines. And it didn't, I think we want test V8. V8. Okay, so, well, what's this? Is this the Canary one? This is Canary. And what's this one? It's on master, right? So it seems like possibly Canary is still failing. Let's take a look. Actually, no. So where? I guess that might not have helped. That might not have done anything because it's maybe the job is. Where's the Canary job? Canary. Sorry, let me go back to. Right, this was. Right, so it was started by this one. Okay. No, sorry. Just trying to find the parent, the chain to see if. Node test commit V8, right? So this one. Right, okay, so here we go. So this. Node test commit to Linux. Yeah, no, we still seem to be failing. So
I checked this one. It at least the latest CentOS ran out of memory. So yeah, if you go to not CentOS, if you go to Fedora latest and,
right.
and check the console for that, it's not a test failure. It just ran out of memory. Oh wait, what? I looked at something else then. I just closed the tab like that. Let's see which one I was looking at.
Seems like, yeah. So basically we've got, we somehow
Fedora
have to be able to recreate it.
how do I try to recreate this locally?
Basically, it should be like if you clone the so there's this repo, Node
Oh, okay.
V8.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you clone that, the master's canary, so that's basically V8 with, so Node with the latest canary V8.
Oh, so this is a fork of Node, basically.
Yeah. And if we just
Okay, got
run make tests, that should recreate it.
Okay. All
But
right.
it didn't. Like I ran it on an Ubuntu 18 machine, Targos ran it on a CentOS machine, and neither of us actually got the failure.
Okay. All right.
But
Then
if
let
you
me
have a
try on
different machine, maybe maybe we'll get lucky, right?
I have Fedora. I have
Okay.
Fedora 30 something.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, the machine I ran it on matched one of them as well. Like it, but one of the failures was in Ubuntu. But anyway, yeah, if you have a chance to try it on Fedora, maybe we'll get lucky on one slightly
Yep.
different one. So
Yeah, because it's an older Fedora and
Okay.
it's been updated quite extensively. So I have a really mishmash setup. Hopefully
Okay.
that'll unsettle things enough to trigger it.
Right. It didn't seem to be like intermittent because I ran it like 1,000 times just to test itself, which was
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
And I tried even running like all of the add-on, like the N-API add-on test together in a loop, and like 100 of those didn't make any difference. So it's curious as to why we can't recreate it, and it's 100%. It seems to be 100% in the build. So anyway, yeah, if you can try the Fedora one, and otherwise we'll have to sort of brainstorm what else we can do.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna put that at the top so we don't forget. Can I? Okay. We were looking at, and I think that's so right. I think we're saying that's about it. So anything else people want to discuss before we close out for today?
Just one quick question. So I became involved in like another sort of group called WebGPU N-API, and they're working on WebGPU. And basically, we are at the point where we wish to create, we wish to compile WebIDL such that it outputs like N-API calls rather than V8 or some
Okay.
engine-specific stuff. So,
Yeah.
are you aware, any of you, of projects which do this so that I don't start from scratch? Basically, compile WebIDL and output N-API calls, either N-API or Node add-on API.
Definitely.
If not, that's fine.
No.
I remember
Go ahead.
that there was a guy, Roman Dev. I remember the nick on
Yeah.
on Node.js API that, if I will remember, did something with WebIDL and Node.js API. Yeah, to create the add-on, and you can search on Node.js API repo. For sure, you will find an issue where he describes what he did.
Yes, yes, I remember. I remember the issue. I actually just saw it recently, but I only skimmed it. Where was it? All right. Okay. Well, anyway, that was my question.
The other thing I'd
returning
mention too
to that
is Jim did do some work on something that would generate an API, not from WebIDL, I think, but from other things. So.
And
okay.
then,
All right. I'll ask him as well.
Can you just give me a? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, another project that and they opened an issue on Node.js API. I don't remember the name. So yeah, I can send I can search later and I send you I will send you by mail, Gabriel. So
I found the issue. It's 294. Yeah, yeah. It's just kind of stalled. So yeah, he worked on it, but then he didn't post any results, and somebody asked last April if there's been any progress made, and that was it.
Yeah,
Just
But
out of it,
there are some things.
but he made a presentation about it. So I think that even if it's a, uh, a prototype, so you can see to yeah, extract some ideas. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah, just to, yeah, don't start from zero.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then I'll try to find information that he may have produced. All right. Thank you. That was it for me.
so just for my benefit, the concept would be that, you have WebIDL, you can run it through some kind of tool, and that will generate you like a skeleton slash stub, NAPI skeleton slash stubs.
Yeah, basically, yes. It would take care of like type validation, that kind of thing. And then it would not be a complete solution, right? Because your native API does not necessarily have exactly the same interface as the JavaScript one, and you still have things like pointer ownership and how do you do callbacks and the usual suspects that make complete generation
Right.
impossible.
And
So
actually
there's
implementing
but
the
the
function
point is
too,
that
right?
yeah. So basically, I mean, even if you had a one-to-one mapping, you would still run into things like pointer ownership and that kind of thing, right? So the idea is not to completely solve the issue of exposing a library to JavaScript, but rather to solve the issue of having to type a pile of code just to do basic stuff repeatedly,
Right.
and then leave you to do the actual thinking and heavy lifting of pointer management and reference management and when do you clean up what and resource
Right.
allocation and freeing and all the human level stuff, so you can
Okay.
concentrate on just that.
Sounds good. And
So
is it gonna,
that's the idea. Yeah, basically.
and
Sorry, go ahead.
is it gonna output, like, is it gonna use Node add-on API or the C API directly?
Well, in the case of WebGPU and API, I spoke to the person driving the spec during the meeting, and he said that it was a pretty chatty API. So I'm thinking Core,
Okay.
because even Core has a significant overhead,
Yeah.
right, when it comes to chatty, and so Node add-on API has an additional overhead, even if you use templated functions, because you still have to you still have to create some objects. If you use templated functions, the disadvantage may disappear with enough inlining, but it may not. It may just not be worth taking the risk that it doesn't. So
Okay.
we'll see. Basically,
Yeah, just curious.
I'll have to just log into it or just get into it and see where it leads.
Sounds good. It's cool to see it being used somewhere else there.
Yeah. They're using it with, I think it's called Babylon Native. If you remember back in the day when we separated out the JS Native API, that was sort of a nudge given to us from a person at Microsoft who were working on V8 only instead of Node.js, right? And so V8 only, you cannot implement Node.js APIs, but you still can use an API. And so that seems to have matured into this sort of backend stack for running compute stuff on GPUs and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, they're using an API, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, and if you go on Babylon Native under dependencies, they now implemented the NAPI for JavaScript core, and yeah, that is the
Oh,
engine.
nice.
Yeah, from Apple, no? Yeah, iOS, yes, for iOS, and yeah, for
Cool.
V8. I don't know if they had something about Spider Monkey. I don't remember, It's
It's possible.
So-
It's possible. Spider Monkey, they're going they're, at least from what I gather from the other meeting, they're going the WASM route. So they're probably going to go WASM rather than an API, but we'll see.
yeah, so yeah, they implemented an API for different JavaScript engine. It's very good.
So we have three then. We have JavaScript core, we have V8, and we have JerryScript, because we have IoT.js, and that also has an API implementation. So yeah, it's getting there slowly but surely.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just checking now. Give me dependencies. API, and yeah, it's JavaScript core. I can find only JavaScript core binding here, because they already have
three engines.
they already has V8 because on Android you use V8. So essentially, yeah. Yeah, I added only the binding for JavaScript core now.
Okay. But I mean, independently, there is IoT.js. That's what I was saying. That's the third engine, right? So we have three now.
Yeah, I'm experimenting
cool.
with Quick.js. That it's another JavaScript engine. I won't try to see if I can do this by my own, just like an exercise, and see where I can go.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I remember when I implemented it for JerryScript. That's not the implementation that ended up being used. So the current implementation is in JerryScript is by somebody else. But I remember having lots of fun tracking the data and then setting up the environment and all that. So it's a lot of fun.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Yeah. So that
Okay.
was it on my part. So thank you for your help.
Okay. Anything else before we close out today? If not, thanks for everybody's time. We'll see you in GitHub and next week.
Thank you. Ciao.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.